Welcome. How's everybody doing? Hopefully I'm not lagging right now. I think we're good. Just saw this trending on Twitter. I don't know, how much this means. This has nothing to do with the market, but just thought I'd bring it up. I don't know. NASA is saying that there's gonna potentially be a rapid increase for the mid-2030s with the lunar cycle amplifying rising sea levels. Well, good luck to everybody in 2030. Let's move on over to Bitcoin for now. What's up, Mehdi, in the chat? So while people are hopping into the stream, we're going to look at Bitcoin. After that, we're going to look at the overall stock market. I'm going to, give my thoughts on what's going on. Then we're going to talk about Clover and AMC. Maybe a couple other things that I want to bring up, and then in probably 25-30 minutes we'll do take a request. So for right now, just going to break down a bunch of stuff, starting off with Bitcoin. Not much on the daily, still kind of looks the same. On the 4-hour, it's still within this falling wedge. It actually bounced off the bottom of this falling wedge at the demand line, which is good. And there's actually classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour for Bitcoin. So finally we have something on the 4-hour, but still the daily is just very, very neutral. We'll see what all that turns into. Let's move on over to the stock market. Right now futures are red. They're not down crazy, but the S&P futures are down about 1/5%, and the NASDAQ futures are down 0.1%. So overnight futures selling off a little bit. We're going to move to the actual S&P 500 chart right now. On the daily, it kind of looks fine for right now. There's no bearish divergence. There's no overbought RSI. But on the 4-hour, there is confirmed classic bearish divergence. We talked about this last night, and now it is confirmed. It was a flat day overall for the S&P 500, but it definitely, did pull back intraday. If we go over to the 15-minute, you could see that we definitely did have a pull. We bounced a little bit and then we sold off in the final minutes before the close. That's really it for the S&P 500. I mean, it could go in either direction. Obviously the trend is so strong, but you do have some bearish divergence. We'll see what happens with that. I think what's more a little bit scary, I wouldn't say scary, but concerning, is the NASDAQ, where today there was a pretty decent amount of technical damage done. The NASDAQ did close red, even though the S&P closed green. There is a bearish engulfing candle on the daily for the NASDAQ. There is now confirmed classic bearish divergence on the daily for the NASDAQ, on the MACD, and kind of on the RSI, just a little bit there. The last time we had classic bearish divergence, let's see if I can find another example on the daily. Don't actually see much on the daily. So typically you don't want to see that. This pretty much indicates that currently conditions might be a little bit overbought. You were just overbought on the RSI. I think the NASDAQ, I'm not trying to call a top or anything. And again, I don't think this is going to crash or anything, but I do think that it kind of does look bearish. If you look at the oscillators, obviously like the S&P, the trend is still amazing. We do have large cap tech stocks having earnings in a couple weeks, so we'll see how all that prices into the market. Still, anything above 14,180 on the NASDAQ looks okay to me, because that was a major breakout we had really towards the end of June. But there definitely is 3% of room to the downside just to back test that level. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. But really what we've been seeing this whole entire month is a green NASDAQ and QQQ and S&P 500. Those have been green. The large cap indices, the biggest stocks, especially a lot of tech stocks as well. But on the other hand, this month we have the Russell 2000. The small cap index is currently down almost 5% in 2 weeks. And if we go over to the ARK ETF, which tracks a lot of growth innovation stocks, that's almost down 10% this month alone. We're about halfway into the month now. It also broke the 200-day moving average today. So we're definitely continuing to see, selling occurring in small caps and mid caps. Not every sector, but a lot of different sectors. While we see, tech did pull back today, but we still are seeing tech heavily outperform, you know, small caps and mid caps. So yeah, I mean, it was a very rough day for the Russell. It was down 1.5%. The ARK ETF was down 3% today. Looks like today was the worst day for the ARK in a long time. I don't even know the last time it was down 3% on one day. Kind of like at the end of April, looks like it. There definitely was a big one in March, but that's a little bit of a concern. And I'm sure many people already saw this take effect in some of the stocks, you know, you might own or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, it's continuing. I don't know how long we're going to see selling in ARK stocks and Russell stocks and those types of names, but for now, that's just what it is. Of course, you know, I don't think we're going to go straight down. Even if we continue going down, I don't think it's going to be just every single day is red. We're going to have green days here and there. So it's all about just, you know, trying to put yourself in a position where you're not risking too much, especially if you're in a lot of names that relate to these ETFs and indices that just have not been doing well so far this month. And that's really it. You know, the VIX spiked a little bit in the morning, but then pulled back in the afternoon. It's still around that 16.2 level, which is just kind of closing around like every single day, it seems like, for the past 4 days, except for yesterday. The Dow Jones was flat as well. That one's kind of in the middle of nowhere for right now. And that's really it for the overall market. I mean, nothing too crazy. Just a flat day for the S&P 500 and then a red day for pretty much all the other major indices. The US 10-year yield pulled back today as well. It's still around that 2016 low. The dollar dollar also pulled back today. So very interesting day. I mean, you're just seeing a continuation, but also you're starting to see the NASDAQ lose steam. You know, we've been seeing red days pretty often so far this month for the ARK and the Russell, but now the NASDAQ, you know, yesterday was a red day for the NASDAQ. The day before, it was technically a green day, but you did end up closing lower. It was a gap up, I believe. So yeah, you know, on the past 3 days, if you look at the NASDAQ, it closed lower than open. That's why you have those red candles. So we'll see what all that turns into. Next, we're probably going to talk about, we'll start off with AMC, then we'll talk about Clover, and then MMAT, which is a new ID I put out today, and then DOC. So we're going to cover those 4 names. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Yesterday's stream was amazing. Thank you to everybody who was in yesterday's stream. It was a great time. And typically when we have, you know, red days for small caps and mid caps, that's when the stream viewers are a little bit down. But yes, it was amazing. Hopefully we got a good stream again tonight. But yeah, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you didn't already. We got like 15 new subscribers yesterday, which was awesome. And yeah, join the Discord. The link's in the description. Appreciate all the support. Let me see if I missed anything in the chat. Chatterfree says defensive sectors outperformed today. We also have a lot of stuff going on with economics. Powell was speaking today. I believe he speaks again tomorrow. There's probably some other stuff going on. Maybe an inverse head and shoulders developing on the ARK, says Max. We'll take a look. Appreciate that, D. How you doing, Spectator? Appreciate it. So on the ARK, inverse head and shoulders, I mean, you would have to, I mean, you still can get an inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, it's possible. I see what you're saying. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. But you would like to see this, you know, start curling back towards the upside. Even if it happens right here, you could still call that an inverse head and shoulders. It is a little bit unparalleled, but typically getting a higher low on your right shoulder is better because it shows that the bears could not bring down the price that much, but you don't want it to be too far apart. You still want them to be kind of symmetrical, so it's kind of like a fine line there. But yeah, let's talk about AMC now. AMC was down 15% today, probably the worst day in a couple, more than a couple. I mean, the last day was down 13%, was June 10th. So worst day pretty much in about a month, it looks like. Today was pretty rough for AMC. We talked about this last night. We talked about the $36 level. It tested it in the morning, but it kind of eventually just broke right through it. And then it actually used it as resistance intraday. You know, right now looking at AMC, I have no clue. You know, under 36, I'm not a huge fan. That 36 level dates back to 2015. It was the previous all-time high. Even 35.70 is another high from 2017, and it broke under that as well. It did actually close at a gap fill though. There was a gap up on June 2nd of this year, and AMC actually did fill that gap right at the close today. So a gap fill is now out of the way, but definitely you're not making any higher highs or higher lows. There still is selling pressure. That could change any day, could change tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. You know, the issue now is like, if it doesn't hold this gap fill as support, there's not a lot of historical support after that for a while. So that's like the biggest concern I see. You know, in my opinion for AMC, I'm not really trying to catch a falling knife on this one in terms of like a swing trade. In terms of day trades, you know, we'll see. Every day is a different day, so you never know whether something could be a good day trade or a bad one before the day actually opens, right? But today, believe it or not, I shared an options idea with premium members that was about 60% profit in an hour. Now you must be asking, oh, okay, you made 60% profit on options on AMC, which was on the same day, which was down 15% today. You must have just gotten puts. You know, it just kept dropping the whole day. You had to be playing puts. That was easy money. It was actually in calls. 60% profit in an hour on call options. For people who are not familiar with options, that means you're betting for the price to go up. So I think it was the $36 strike for this Friday is what I shared with premium members. And the price was around $34 when I gave out that idea. And I said I'm looking for it to bounce back to $36. And within an hour, it made that move. It was about, I think, a 6 or 7% bounce intraday. It was really the only real bounce intraday, and that's what we traded. And it was a nice 65, I think, percent profit in like an hour. I did take profits a little bit early. I took profits at like 35%, but yeah, it played out very, very nicely and it hit the level I was looking for. It even went higher, which is why I said I sold right over here because I knew 36 could have been a resistance. It was a resistance the first time I tested it, but then it broke it for a little bit and then came back under. But yeah, it was a quick day trade. I said it was a day trade. They were weekly options, so I didn't want to be holding them overnight. And it worked out great. So this is why, you know, no matter what something is doing in the long term as a day trader, you can find opportunity on either side. And that's what we were able to do with AMC today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. It's not really on my watch list for tomorrow. I'm very, very neutral on it going into tomorrow. I just saw an opportunity for a day trade. I was waiting all morning for some sort of confirmation. I got confirmation on the 5-minute chart and it played out. So yeah, just sharing that day trade I did with everybody. It's in the title of the stream, I think. But that's really it for AMC. Let's talk about Clover now. We need 2 more likes to hit 20 likes. So Clover was down 2.5% today. Got pretty close to the stop level. It's only 20 cents higher right now. I think it was up like 1% after hours. But believe it or not, there really wasn't much technical damage apart from the fact that it closed under 887. That 887 level was like a 4-day resistance from March 17th to March 22nd. And it actually held that level at the close yesterday, which we talked about last night on stream. Today it closed under that. So I don't like that it did that. But if we look at the MACD, you still have developing hidden bullish divergence on the daily, and you still have nearly confirmed hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour MACD, and also kind of on the RSI. So we'll see what all this turns into. It already hit the PCZ of the bullish shark and also the crab that we were looking at on the 1 hour. So right now, in terms of the Clover idea, I'm hoping that we're around the bottom or the local bottom for Clover in terms of the trade. But again, hope is not necessarily an indicator. It's just I want to see this trade bounce. But again, for right now, it's it's down 4%. It was up 4% like yesterday or the day before. It's kind of messing around. And then I don't know if this would be like a textbook falling wedge. You only have like 1, 2, 3 kind of touches if we're looking at like the pivots within it. But I saw somebody tweet this out. Interesting idea going into tomorrow. I mean, you definitely do have downsloping consolidation. You could see you were a lot more volatile up here. Now you're kind of getting into a little bit of a tight range. We'll see if this means anything tomorrow. Again, usually I'd like to see a much more clearer pattern than this, but just it's on my chart for right now. We'll see, because it is kind of at the apex point. So it will be interesting if it does have a green day tomorrow and it breaks out of this whatever scrub falling wedge. Maybe it could usher in a move to test resistances again. And that's really it for Clover. You know, we made money off of it. We've lost money off of it. We'll see what happens this time around. But if it really breaks that 850 level tomorrow and you zoom out on the chart, then you got a lot of room down to your next supports, right? So hopefully tomorrow or even Friday, tomorrow could be a flat day, you never know, but hopefully tomorrow could be a good day for it for the sake of the trade. But again, you never know. Moving on from Clover, I put out a new trade idea today, MMAT. Within like half an hour of me putting this out, the trade was up 13% and then it did pull back. It still is up 4%, but I put this idea out today. MMAT, we were talking about it last night on stream. It was on my watch list going into today, and it's interesting. There was some sort of a merger here, and this thing absolutely dumped, from crazy high levels, like literally a few weeks ago, from 2165 down to 350-ish. But now, it's looking pretty interesting as long as it holds this level, right? So this yellow box I have here, if we go over to the weekly on MMAT, this level that it bounced off of this week is a major historical level that's been resistance since 2016 up until it broke it this year in January. And now it's actually using that level as support. Also, it bounced right off the 200-day moving average, which is that green line. So it bounced off a pretty interesting area. There is hidden bullish divergence on the daily and the 4-hour on both the MACD and the RSI. So it's developing on the daily for the MACD, same thing for the RSI. And then if we go to the 4-hour, it's nearly confirmed on the MACD, and also it also looks pretty good on the RSI. The RSI was oversold, I think, yesterday on the 4-hour. So yeah, the oscillators do look pretty good for right now. The one thing that I would say this doesn't really have is like a pattern. It kind of just went straight down for the last few weeks. It doesn't really have much of a pattern, so it's mainly a support / divergence play. But the reason that I kind of put this idea out when I did this afternoon is because if you go over to the 1-hour, you could see that there was kind of a double bottom on the 1-hour chart, and it was kind of breaking this level right over here, this little resistance, or potential neckline of the double bottom. It broke it right when it was breaking it is when I put out the idea, and then it broke that 3-day resistance and it popped like 12% in half an hour, and then it came back down to back test the resistance and try and flip it into a support. And for right now, it has held. So we'll see what this does tomorrow, but that's the new idea, MMAT. Just bringing it up really quickly. And then finally, DOC, still at the entry. I think I shared this idea yesterday. Upsloping channel, hidden bullish divergence on the daily MACD and RSI, and also hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour RSI. So, we'll see if this can do something. The swings have not been doing too well. The Boeing trade got stopped out today. It was like a 5% loss. It's just not been a good market for, a lot of different sectors. A lot of sectors that I trade, it's just not been a good market for them this month so far. And it has been red, but like I said last night on stream, I definitely do think I've tried my best to keep the losses minimal, tighter stops and putting out less swings in the last few weeks. Over the past few days, I've started to put out quite a few more compared to what I was doing towards the end of June, just because I'm seeing some potential here and there. But again, you always got to manage your risk and be prepared for anything. So that's really the recap of the day. Pretty simple, right to the point. Fisker broke the 200-day moving average today. Unfortunately, there's no ongoing trade on Fisker. It already played out, but obviously I like talking about it. Still, I've been saying this for like a month now. I just have no clue. In terms of like a swing trade, Fisker is just not showing all the variables that I look for. So right now, it's like I still love it long term, but I'm just kind of, ignoring it in the short term until I see something better. So that's really it for Fisker. I mean, if it starts showing me good variables, I would love to put out a trade idea, but I'm never going to be forcing anything. So for right now, it's still just unclear to me for the short term. And yeah, that's pretty much the full recap. Let me take a look at the chat again. Appreciate that, Spac Invader. Steven says AMC option vibes. Yes, for sure. MMAT, isn't that a meme stock? I'm not too sure. I looked into the company and all I really saw was the merger thing or whatever it was with Torchlight, I believe. I just did a very quick look at it. It's mainly just I'm looking at the chart right now. But somebody was talking about in the Discord that there could be a lot of bag holders in it, which is kind of the same case for Clover as well. So that definitely is, you know, something that it's going to have to face, right? So Joey says, can you give me a little explanation as to why you put out the idea for MMAT? I don't know if you typed that like right before I was looking at it, but I pretty much went over the whole entire rundown of what I was seeing on the chart. Hopefully you were watching the stream then. If not, you could scroll back like 5 minutes, and I talked about the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, and the 4 hour and everything I was seeing, even the 1 hour. I talked about like every time frame on it like 5 minutes ago. Cheddar Free says PPI rose today following the CPI data, Powell tomorrow with the OPEC, and jobs stayed in the morning. A lot of economic stuff coming out. Again, there's just so many different things going on that it's like, for me, it's like, you know, I'm definitely not super well versed in all these, you know, intricate economical details. So I just kind of react to whatever people are doing, right? So I just look at the charts. It's pretty easy to tell if people like the news or if people don't like the news, and I just kind of you know, base my judgment around that. And then after we get moves to the upside or the downside, try and, you know, look more into things. But yeah, all those things can definitely affect the market, so you got to keep an eye on them. And yeah, so that's pretty much the recap from today. A little bit of a quieter crowd. I wouldn't say the chat's actually pretty good, but you know, we got a little bit of less viewers in here tonight. You know, like I've said before, that's typically what happens when it's a red market and when the trades aren't doing too well. But again, like I always say, the real people always show up. Last night was definitely a surprise, but yeah, we're gonna just look at tickers for the rest of the stream. Appreciate all the support. Keep hitting that like button. Maybe a little bit of a quicker stream tonight. We'll see how the vibes are, and we'll get to it. So if you want me to take a look at a ticker, drop it in the chat right now. Don't request anything that was up over 30% today. Don't request anything that IPO'd within the last week. Most likely don't request OTCs. It's really hard to chart like most of them. And yeah, remember, nothing I say is financial advice. None of this is certainty. It's all just probability. Sending good vibes to you, Shelby. And yeah, we'll just look at tickets for the rest of the stream. IJR, Wish, Disney, NVIDIA. Got a couple people asking about Wish. The stop loss on Wish did help. LEV, FUBO. All right, we'll probably look through these tickers first. We're gonna start off with IJR, small cap ETF, S&P small cap ETF. Maybe a little bit of a range here. Support is 106, resistance is 115. I don't really see much divergence or any patterns, so that's really all I could do with this chart. But yeah, I mean, this is down, you know, 2.5% this week alone. Definitely makes sense looking at a lot of different small caps. That's really it. It actually is kind of at a level right now. This 108 level was a candle low on May 20th. Candle low on April 22nd, candle low on April 19th, and then like kind of almost a resistance at the beginning of March. So maybe it closed at an interesting level. We'll see what it can do off that level tomorrow. Wish was a failed trade, but the stop loss was, I believe, $10.60. That got stopped out yesterday, and since it got stopped out, it fell another 8%. This is kind of all you really have here, this $9.70 level. was roughly your candle low on June 11th. That's really the only time you tested it. So we'll see if that holds tomorrow. Let me see if this did anything interesting after hours. It's bringing up the website. After hours, it was down another 2%. It went down to 960 after hours. So it's under that level. It depends on where it opens. I would definitely like to see Wish hold above 970 tomorrow. But, you know, at this point currently, you still have the hidden bearish divergence playing out on the daily, which I've been talking about since it was at like 14 bucks is when I started talking about that. Literally everybody was insanely bullish on Wish over here, all over social media and Reddit. And I was like, hey, there's a bearish divergence on the daily, just letting you know. All right, bye, don't hate me. And then now it's at 978. I did put out an idea at around 11 bucks. It was what, 4-5% loss, I think. I think it was, let's see. It was a 4% loss. You know, losing 4% in something that just dropped 36% in like 16 days. It's still bad, but it's not that much percent compared to how much it actually has dropped. It dropped even more than that today alone. So that's really it for Wish. I mean, if we go over to the 1 hour, I still don't really see much. So I guess it's all about 970 tomorrow. That's the level I'd be watching on Wish. Now we have Disney next. Did I miss anything? Yeah. Now we got 44 people in here. We just went up like 15 viewers in like 2 or 3 minutes. So for the people who just joined the stream, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Right now I'm just looking at tickers from the chat and just trying to chart for everybody. If you're new to the stream, I you know, look at the market and just chart things every single weeknight, try and give my ideas or my thoughts on what's going on and what I see based on textbook technical analysis. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, feel free to hit that subscribe button. If not, all good. Let's see if I missed anything else. BFLY, Butterfly Network. My channel is being promoted. I don't know what that means. But yeah, Disney. Broke out of that falling wedge, had a great day, I believe, on Monday. It's kind of spent 2 days just really doing nothing now. I still think Disney looks pretty good above 178. And then in terms of resistances, I'd just be using Fibonacci. You're at the 50% retrace, already showing resistance there. Your next level would be the 618, which is like 189. That's really it for Disney. It already did the hard part. It already broke out. Now we're just going to see how long this, you know, current short-term uptrend can last. Maybe it turns into a long-term uptrend. I mean, obviously it's already in a long-term uptrend, but we'll see what this turns into. It's a pretty nice pattern. Moving on from that, NVIDIA. This is, you know, a potential short idea I've been looking at. It broke out of this upsloping channel. There's classic bearish divergence on the daily, and it looks like it was down 2% today. Not surprised. I mean, those are bearish technicals. Obviously, the trend is amazing. I believe the split is very soon. It might be July 20th, according to TradingView. So we'll see. That could be a bullish catalyst, but also it could be argued that it's already priced in over the past, you know, 2 months. But we'll see what this turns into. I'm not short NVIDIA. I'm not short anything right now. I'm also not really, you know, super aggressive either. I'm just kind of, you know, hands off right now. I'm still in a couple things, but yeah. I mean, if NVIDIA breaks this little 787 level, then, you know, I think there's definitely more room to the downside. So I'd be watching 787 tomorrow, which is not too far away from where it closed. If it goes up tomorrow, then let me go over to the 4 hour. Still very choppy, hard to really pick a good resistance. Maybe 820 could be a short-term resistance. You had 2 candle highs over here, candle high over here, and then another one over here. So you definitely have 4 different candles on the 4 hour showing resistance there for NVIDIA. Moving on, we got SOFI, which actually hit the PCZ pattern completion zone of a bullish bat today. It didn't end up holding that first area, it bounced off of it, just sold off, and now it's down to the 886. Pretty much closed right around there. And actually, when I was looking at this earlier today, the MACD was not losing negative momentum, it was increasing on negative momentum, but I guess it might have bounced a little bit before the close. So good. You still have a very good potential for hidden bullish divergence on the 4-hour and the daily. Really, like I've been saying, I still think SOFI looks good as long as it's above 1475. Now again, it's a little bit tough to play because you don't know exactly where it can reverse. It could still just break that level and keep going down. But you're at a pattern completion zone for bullish bat. You have hidden bullish divergence almost confirmed. Even if this doesn't work out, you have another support right under you. Those are bullish technicals. Of course, it's been very rough for this stock ever since the middle of June. So the trend's not really your friend, but hopefully these type of variables can allow a reversal. You're oversold on the RSI. The last time you were around this level on the RSI, this thing went from $13 to $19.75. So we'll see what happens there. Costco is next. You had classic bearish divergence. You're already losing negative momentum, so it really hasn't done much. It broke out of this ascending triangle. We looked at it right before it was breaking out. We watched Costco on the stream. It was like a textbook ascending triangle, and it's had a really good few weeks ever since it broke out of it. I believe it hit the measured move of it. It definitely did. So the measured move of this pattern was about 405. It hit the measured move. It's even higher than that right now. All-time highs. Pretty much all you could do for resistance at this point is Fibonacci, which still, there's a few different ways you could do it. I'd probably gonna try it out like this. It's actually already showing some resistance at the 261A if you tried it like that. I don't know, it's just a lot of these stocks are just kind of, going crazy. It's really hard to do, a lot of technicals on them right now when they're going straight up. The strongest support you have is this 400 level. Or really, it's like the lower 390 area. This whole entire area could be strong support. It was a previous resistance. So you never know. We'll see what happens with that. It is a little bit, or it's almost overbought on the daily. Next one is Workhorse. It's at a make or break area. Kind of. I mean, this was the candle low from April 15th. It was the same low today. It's not a huge level. If you break this, then you got $10. So you definitely want to hold this on Workhorse. Oh, actually, this is a pretty big level. It dates back to April of 2016. I did not know Workhorse was that old. I thought it was a newer company. Eventually, hidden bullish divergence is possible. This could turn into an inverse head and shoulders. Like, this has the potential, if it can hold this level, to eventually, do this. But we're going to find out soon whether or not it wants to hold this level, and it might just depend on the overall EV sector, which has not been having a good month at all. Airbnb broke 143 support, broke the low from July 8th. I don't like that. Next support on Airbnb is 136.8 from really the beginning of the year. If it breaks that, then you got 129. I don't really see much of a pattern or any divergence. If it reclaims 144, great, but for right now, I'm not too much of a fan of the chart. Charge point. Hidden bullish divergence is possible, but it's not even developing yet. The major support on this, like literally a steel wall of support, is 1942. You quadruple bottomed off of that before a very nice run. That's really the biggest level on the chart. I don't know if it's going to get all the way down there. You do have a gap fill to 2769 on charge point. Other than that, I don't see much of a pattern, there's a potential for divergence, but it's not really developing. And your 786 would be 2311. GENI is next. Looks like it broke out of a rising wedge. I think we looked at this like yesterday, the night before. It broke out of a rising wedge, started consolidating for a little bit. It even flipped the demand line into a supply line. And today it broke out of the range to the downside and came right to the next level, which was that low from April 20th and high from April 1st. So 1568 is your level right now. If you break it, then you got $13.80. If you can bounce off of it, probably 17-ish would be your resistance. That's really it for GENI. ABBV, let me just clear up all of this. Next resistance is like 121.8. Looks okay for right now. I mean, this thing has had so many green days in a row. It's had It's had 2 weeks of non-stop green, which is very nice. I don't know if that was fireworks or something else, but whatever. I don't know if you'd call this a double bottom, but it definitely did flip a previous resistance into a support, made a higher low. This one looks fine for right now. You just want to hold above 110. You know, it's in an uptrend. It's not overbought. It still has more room to go. I don't know what this company does, but for right now, you just got to hold 110. That's really all you could do. Let's see if I missed anything else. No. GOEV, Canoe. Stack the margins. Thank you. I'm gonna wait for it to pop up in a second here. But can we get some vibes in the chat for Stack the margins with the $25 Canadian super chat? Really appreciate it. Sharing profits with you on my SOFI trade I took today. Your charting on it from last night's stream was bang on. Thank you. Interesting. From SOFI today. What did I talk about with SOFI last night? Because SOFI was down today. I don't know if you maybe played like an intraday bounce. There really even wasn't much of a bounce. I don't know. But regardless, thank you for the 25s. You know, going back to SOFI, like I was just looking at it, but it's at the 886 for the bat. You want to bounce here. If not, you still have support lower. Whoa, Steven with the $5 tip. Yeah, we're going to take a look at LINKUSD next. For you, bullish cipher, and you clear stop losses and support. We're going to take a look at it right here in a second. Let's get more vibes in the chat for Steven M. Thank you both for the tips. Appreciate it very much. But yeah, on SOFI, it's at that 886. If it doesn't hold this level, which is currently at, then you got 1475, which is a pretty strong support. It was a low from March 4th, a low from April 20th, almost your low from the beginning of May. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, the divergence is still developing. I still think this has a good chance of reversal in the short term. But again, that's just me. I could be wrong. Thank you again for the 25 stack. Really appreciate it. Now we're going to take a look at LINKUSD for Steven. Another tip. Thank you again. Really appreciate it, Steven. LINKUSD. So it looks like Link ended up breaking this demand line. Now it's back under 1734, which is a pretty important historical level. And you're talking about a bullish cipher. I don't know exactly how you're looking at it, but it's like if you do it like this, I don't think it's a bullish cipher. Got a little bit deep on B. The C point's fine, but you came down to the same exact low. You didn't get to like a 786 or a 1618 or anything. So I don't know if you're looking at it a little bit differently than I am. Even like this, it doesn't really, it's too deep on the B point. So I'm not too sure about that. I might be looking at it incorrectly. I don't know exactly how you're looking at it. Even let me try and go over to the daily. On the daily, actually came down to a 1272 almost. That's actually pretty interesting on the daily. In terms of like levels on the chart though, I think 15 bucks is the strongest support. That's below you, and you're right below a resistance, which is 1734. So said any clear stop loss / support. I think 15 is a major support. You know, I don't know what your entry looks like, but it still could drop down to 15, bounce off it. Obviously depends on Bitcoin. So we'll see. There is some hidden bearish divergence developing on the daily though. I really think it comes down to Bitcoin. On the 4-hour, you actually have classic bullish divergence. So you have contradicting divergence, bullish on the 4-hour, bearish on the daily, or developing on the daily. See what this turns into. And yeah, I don't know if I missed any other chats. Oh, you played a small intraday bounce on SOFI. Congrats. Start from the scan wick from the crash. So from this, I don't know if you're talking about that, but that wouldn't be a cipher. It's lower high. I mean, that's pretty much a 618 retrace. Can't really be a Gartley. And a crab could have a lot more room to the downside. I don't even know. I'm probably just missing the bigger picture here. So yeah, I mean, a screenshot would definitely help out. But thank you again, Stephen. Really appreciate the 5. Still got a lot more tickets to look at. I think we were looking at GOEV before. I don't know. I don't really like this thing under 10. I just don't see much that really catches my attention. It's not oversold on the 4-hour or the daily. I don't see much of a pattern or any divergence. I could see this one going either way, you know. That's really it for GOEV. Netflix, also pretty choppy. It's in this huge range between 477 and 575. Closest resistance is 557. Closest support is 536.5. You actually might. Nope, you don't have divergence on the 4-hour. I don't know. Those are your levels on Netflix. I don't see much apart from that. LEV is next. Hidden bullish divergence, there's still a potential for it, but again, your MACD needs to start waning back towards green for any potential confirmation. On a lot of these charts, it's just not really clear to me right now, unfortunately. That's really all I see on that one too. I don't like just skipping over charts, but if I don't see anything that really catches my eye, you know, there's not too much else to talk about. So I could still also see that one going either way. It's been selling off for a while. It's just, I think a lot of these things are just moving with their sectors for right now. It's definitely a very, like, how do I put it? Like, it's a very seasonal market. You know, a lot of things are moving in conjunction with a lot of other similar names in their given sectors. You know, there are definitely, you know, needles in the haystack that you can find. But for right now, it's like everything is just kind of in autopilot, either in a good way or a bad way. Like large cap techs are in autopilot for now in a good way. There is some bearish divergence forming on a lot of them. And then, you know, small caps and mid caps, especially growth or, you know, new growth stocks are kind of just not having a good month at all. And they're just all kind of grouped up and following the trend for right now. FUBO is next. Broke under the 27 level and the 200-day moving average on the same day, and it broke under last Thursday's low. That's a pretty rough break of multiple levels. The next major level is 22. Doesn't mean it's going to go there for sure. It could reverse whenever it wants to, but definitely, you know, this descending broadening wedge really meant nothing, and there's no divergence for right now. I don't really like FUBO under 27. If it reclaims 27, we could talk about it. Or if it comes down to 22, we could talk about it. But in between, it's just very 50-50 to me. AIKI. It's around an interesting level for sure. This whole entire area, I mean, like this whole entire area. Resistance, support, support, support. We'll see what happens now. There's a potential for hidden bullish divergence, but it's not even currently developing on the daily. On the 4-hour, though, you do have triple classic bullish divergence almost confirmed, which is interesting. You are under the 200-day moving average. I'd say you just want to hold above 77 cents for sure, and then your closest resistance would probably be the 200-day moving average at 96 cents. So yeah, that is AIKI. Appreciate that, Neutron Flux Labs. LKCO, another one that has a potential for hidden bullish divergence, but it's not developing. For the newer people in here, by developing, I mean the MACD's not moving back towards green. Like you see these lighter red bars on the MACD, that's what you want to see for a divergence that is developing. It's not developing yet. There's a potential for it because you have more negative momentum on this MACD island than the previous one, and you currently are at a higher low, but you don't really have any confirmation yet. That's all I mean, because I know I've been saying that a lot tonight. Just in case anybody's confused, you can always go to the free course on my channel. It's video number 8 if you want to learn about divergence. Or join the Discord, the link's in the description, and plenty of people can help you out there. We have a lot of resources there. But LKCO, apart from that, 175 is the interesting level. It's a two different daily highs from 2019. It's under that level for right now. It's currently at, it's actually under the 618, 786 retrace to be 150. You actually have a little bit of like a 3-day support there. So I think 150 is the strongest support below you. Also a psychological level, and then you probably want to get back above 175. Other than that, it's pretty volatile. XELA, everybody's been talking about this one for the past couple of weeks. I don't know what it is, but looking at the chart, 329 is the strongest level I see. It was support back from 2019, resistance in January of this year. So 329 is the most important level I see. And in terms of resistances, you got 492, which was the candle high in 2019 and the candle low in 2019. And then after that, you just got the 546 high that it made yesterday. So those are your levels on it. There is no pattern on this chart. There's no divergence. It's gone straight up. That's really all I can do for that one. Apple hit the third target of a premium trade. I think this was shared at the end of May, or I think it was around the end of May when I shared this idea on Apple to premium members. Actually hit the third target today for a 19% gain, which is pretty good in about a month. On a name like Apple, 19% in a month is very good. So yeah, it was a great trade. I mean, went a lot quicker than I expected. Usually, you know, you're going to see the highs and the higher lows and then kind of work your way up, but this one just kind of went straight up. I mean, it was a very real breakout. I think Apple, you know, it's definitely overbought. Historically, every time you've been overbought, you have pulled back. The question is, how much will the pullback be? No way to know for right now, when it eventually does pull back. But for now, it still is going strong. Closed at another new all-time high today. Your closest support is 145, which was your previous all-time high from January. After that, you got 137.5, which was like 4 different daily highs over the last year. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, in terms of like Fibonacci, it passed the 1618. The 2618 would be $161. And that's really it for Apple. What else we got? I've showed this Apple idea. I think I showed this like a couple weeks ago and hit the first target, so it's all good, Cheddar Freeze. I don't even know what you're talking about earlier. I must have missed it. It's all good though. AVB is next. This one's going insane. Resistance is 229. That's your previous all-time high. Pretty strong support at 197, which is obviously very far from the current price. If we zoom in, this whole entire area could be used as support if it retests it. It's a little bit of a consolidation area. I don't see much of a pattern. I don't really see, actually you do have hidden bullish divergence playing out on the daily, which implies a continuation of this very strong uptrend ever since the COVID crash. I don't know if I'd look at it like that, but maybe you could look at it as like an ascending broadening wedge, but it's like right in the middle of it, so it doesn't really matter for right now. And that's really it for AVB. Next one we got is WBA. Testing the 200-day moving average. This is a very important level, 46.31. It was support twice already this year. You're testing it, you just want to hold above that. If you break it, then you got 43.90 as your next level, which was a previous resistance from last year. And then your resistance now is 49.22. It used to be resistance. It used to be support last year. I don't see much divergence. That's really it. I mean, you know, on the weekly, we were looking at this like back in, I think, November of last year was a major falling wedge on the weekly and had a very nice move off of it. But yeah, 43.90 is a very, very important historical level. We'll see if it can bounce there, if it gets there, first of all. BFLY is next. Let me go over to the daily. I think really ever since BFLY broke that 1291 level, I think we did talk about it like right when it broke it on the stream. You know, 1291 was the biggest level. It was your lows from, you know, 420 and 421. You broke that level. You even flipped it into resistance for like a whole entire week, which was more confirmation of the breach. Now you have 3 big red candles in a row. I don't really see any historical support until 922. In terms of like a harmonic, it could also turn into a bullish bat or maybe something else. But the 886 would be down at $10 as well. I don't know for right now. I can see this one going either way. Hidden bullish divergence is possible, but the MACD needs to start waning. On the daily, on the 1 hour, there is some classic bullish divergence right there. And then on the 4 hour, still a potential for hidden bullish divergence, but it's not currently developing. So that's what I see on BFLY. Let me scroll up a little bit. We need one more like to hit 30 likes. Let's get the likes up a little bit right now. What else we got in here? Link. Neutron Flux Lab says the Discord is where it's at. I mean, you don't have to join if you hate education. That could help you build yourself a personal money printer, or your personal money printer. Agreed. You know, if you're not in the Discord, I don't know what you're doing. You know, there's just so much in the Discord that you're missing out on. All you have to do is click the link in the description, or the link that both Cheddar Freeze and Neutron Flux Labs shared in the chat. It's pretty simple. You could join it. You could talk to all of us while I'm not streaming. You can see my trade ideas. You can see a bunch of other people's trade ideas. You can share your ideas. Just meet other, you know, like-minded traders. There's a lot of educational resources. There's, you know, really good bots that we have in the Discord that can tell you things from options flow to algorithm reads on stocks to short interest to literally like almost anything. You know, we have a lot of bots in the Discord that have a crazy amount of commands. And you get all of that for free. Just hit the link in the description and we'll see you there. So now we got ATOS. There's hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour. On the daily, you have hidden bullish divergence developing. That's a good start. Already has run like crazy though. I don't see much of a pattern here. All I really see is divergence in the middle of a support and resistance. So if I took out the oscillators, I would be completely neutral on this name. If you add the oscillators, then, you know, there's a slight favor towards the bulls here. Also, the trend is very nice for right now. Maybe a little bit of like a demand line right there, which is still above. So you probably just want to hold above that. That's really all I see on ATOS. Next one is INDI. There's really nothing I can do here. There's not enough data for me to really do much on. Apologies. And I don't really know too much about the company. I believe they're what, EV batteries or something. Wasn't this like THBR as a SPAC? I can't really remember. I think it is, or I think it was though. AVGO. I really like that this broke above 479. That was resistance for all of June. And it broke that level this month, or actually just like literally on Monday, I think. It still is in a choppy area. I mean, this whole entire area is kind of choppy right up here. But as long as it's above 479, I think it looks pretty interesting. If it ends up breaking that, then 462 would be your closest support, or 463. I don't see much of a pattern there, any divergence, but yeah, those are your levels. Simple, right to the point. No need to make it too complex. JMIA broke out of a very important historical level dating back to 2019. Right now, it's not looking too good, but it could turn into a bullish bat if it drops down to $19.89. I don't know if it gets there. I have no clue. Anything else? maybe you could stretch it and call this a bullish pin bar on the 4 hour. That's really all I see. Also, maybe a chance for classic bullish divergence on the 1 hour as well. There's a lot of potential things here, but none of them are really confirmed just yet, so it might just take some patience on this name. 5 more likes at 40 likes. Appreciate all the likes. Brent said it's down 205K in the last 2 weeks. Sorry to hear that. I'm now 60% cash. Inflation is nearing the red zone and the Fed is so behind the curve, it's laughable. I'm not super aware, I wouldn't say aware, but I'm not super, I guess, educated on, you know, the depths of inflation. So I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I'm just kind of listening to what the, you know, the smarter people are saying, which even then everybody's arguing about it. So for right now, it's just like, I'm just taking it day by day. You know, there's always going to be something that's a concern for the market right now. It's definitely inflation. So yeah, obviously got to keep an eye on it. We had some interesting numbers. What was it, yesterday? So, you know, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, just keep your head up and just keep working at it. That's, you know, straight into the point. That's really the game. You just can't give up. You just got to keep following the process, managing your risk, and wait for better days to come, because they always do, you know. Medi says, yes, it was THBR, INDI. Got a few more takers. You got it, Tito. Hopefully they can do something. We'll look at one of those, game PvP. We'll look at PG, MPLN as well. For Scrooge, Tattooed Chef. For Frank the Tank. Scrooge says MPLN just dumped, but ascending broadening wedge, 5 touches, bouncing off trend line, hitting bullish divergence. Those are a lot of things. We're going to take a look at the chart after we finish CCIV and PG. CCIV broke under the 2428 level. No, I really want to see it get back above it. I mean, that's literally, it just has to go up like 3 or 4%. Really, it only has to go up like 3% for it to reclaim that. I don't know why my chart took forever to load, but it did break out of a demand line and a horizontal level. I don't like that. So unless it again, it only takes a 3% green day for it to reclaim that, but until it does that, I don't know how I feel about it. Those are 2 important levels, so hopefully it can reclaim it. But for right now, your next support, if it cannot reclaim it, your next support would be 22 from your low on June 3rd and June 16th. I believe the merger vote date should be within a couple weeks or something like that. So we'll see how that goes, or the reaction to that. PG, looks like I have this charted. Let me delete all that. Major resistance at 139, and just kind of inching up towards that resistance. So I think whichever way this breaks will probably be telling. I don't see any divergence on the 4 hour or the daily, and I don't really see much of a pattern. Maybe just a little bit of an upsloping channel. Resistance is 139. Support would probably be your 200-day moving average at 135. MPLN. So you were talking about ascending broadening wedge. I don't see it on the daily or the 4 hour. I think it's a little bit too steep of a drop for a oh wait, you said ascending broadening wedge? I mean, maybe you were looking at this. Oh, okay. There we go. I just had to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, so if we look at it like this, then it's currently pretty much right at the demand line of this. You do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches, yeah. So that's correct. Also, there is a chance for hidden bullish divergence on the daily. Your RSI is oversold. Also, potential for hidden bullish divergence over on the 4 hour. Not much divergence on the MACD. If you really zoom into the RSI, maybe a little bit of classic, but it's very small. And yeah, that's MPLN. Pretty interesting. If it can hold this level, and bounce off of this level, I mean, 200-day moving average at 780 would probably be the next resistance, and then after that you have a gap fill at around $8.18. So those would be the next two levels I'd be looking at. If it does break this demand line, then I think there could be room back down to like $6.10 from this low over here, this low over here, and this low over here. So that's what I'd be watching. Tattooed Chef broke the 200-day moving average, never confirmed the hidden bullish divergence, unfortunately. As of right now, you're around the golden retrace. Maybe a little bit of a falling wedge is forming on the daily. So it just depends on, you know, I don't know when this short-term downtrend will end. Again, I think this definitely has a lot to do with just the overall sectors. But yeah, your closest support would be $19 from, I think, last Thursday's low maybe. And after that, $16.47. In terms of resistance, your 200-day moving average is $20.63. After that, maybe this little high at 22. That's really it for Tattooed Chef. 3 more likes at 40 likes. You got it, Scrooge. How you doing, Max? Yeah, we'll take a look at UWMC. It was looking good, and it just really didn't do much. And now I think I looked at it today. It still has a chance. You know, down at 730, you have a pretty decent support. It is still within this downsloping channel. Hidden bullish divergence is still possible on the daily. And now you actually have potential for classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour. On the MACD, not on the RSI, but the RSI is oversold. There still is room down to 730, but I mean, divergence, downsloping channels, support, you know, those are a decent amount of variables for, you know, a way to manage your risk. And it even filled a gap today. It filled a gap at 757 from May 17th. So, you know, if you were to line this up and enter somewhere around like 760-ish, and just throw your stop loss under the support, you'd be risking about 6%, and then you could just probably use you could use this horizontal resistance as a target. You get 2 reward to risk. Or if you used Fibonacci, it depends on how low it goes here, so it might not be time to plot fibs just yet, but if you went for the 50% retrace, you would get a 3 reward to risk, and that'll be right under the 200-day moving average. So you could probably line something up. It just also, again, depends on how the overall sectors do for small caps and mid caps. Just kind of pulling back with all the other names in that group. Futures actually did bounce a little bit during the course of the stream. And we'll look at ZTO for Medi. That'll be the final ticker of the night. Also, can we get some vibes in the chat for the people still in the stream? Let's get some vibes in the chat for Medi. Every single night, he does timestamps of the whole entire stream, and I know everybody here loves those timestamps. And also, the timestamps really help to grow the stream because I tweet a lot of them out on like a second Twitter account I have. So let's get some vibes in the chat for Medi, putting in the work, helping out, making the stream just better overall. ZTO, I think we're looking at this at the scanning call. It was like a very scuffed XABCD. You know, it came down to the 886, bounced off of that, even though it had a 0.65 retrace from X to B. It actually opened up pretty high today, or I guess it opened at 29.74, but then it closed at 29.15. So it pulled back intraday. You still have classic bullish divergence on the 4-hour currently playing out. Next resistance is around $30.70, and then closest support really would be 27 horizontally, but you could probably also use Thursday's low as like a way to judge your risk, because that was a gap down and then gap up formation. So it does show that the bulls did step up off of that level, which was also the 886 retrace. So it definitely does have potential. I wish that it was like doing this like over here for a better probability, but still, you know, we'll see what this turns into. A lot of vibes in the chat from Eddie. Appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's going to be the stream for tonight. We need one more like to hit 40 likes if anybody hasn't hit the like button yet. Thank you for the tips tonight. Thank you for all the support in the chat. Really appreciate everybody. You know, I know it's not been a great month for a lot of people, myself included. But again, it's all about just having patience and just weathering the storm, playing defense as long as you need to. It could be months, should it be But as long as you need to play defensive, just play defensive. And then when you see opportunities, manage your risk. And this is not financial advice, but take the opportunities, try your best, and just play the game of probability, right? That's all we're trying to do here. So again, everybody has their own style of trading. You don't have to copy mine. You got to find what works best for you, and you know, just learn. And that's where you could see success. So yeah, good luck to everybody trading tomorrow. I'll be live again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. EST, which will be my final stream of the week. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. The link's in the description, and I'll see you there. All right, have a good night. Thank you for everything, and thank you for the 44 likes now. Peace out.